Hey folks, James Caton here. A very quick intro to today's episode. Today we speak with Daragh Morrissey, banking and financial services industry leader at Microsoft. We talk about Agentic AI's ability to break complex problems into smaller steps, which provides more accurate and helpful outputs. We talk about how the more successful organizations are the ones where business and technology teams collaborate in the selection and automation of high value business processes. And we talk about super agents that can manage multiple agents and perform complex tasks, allowing organizations to shift human resources from low value activities to higher value, more strategic roles. I really enjoyed this conversation. I think you will too. As a reminder, these conversations are part of a series of interviews that we are also publishing as an Agentic AI Transformation Playbook. You will find the download link in the show notes. If you enjoy these kinds of conversations, please let your friends know, share this podcast with your friends, and click subscribe. You can find us on all of your favorite podcast and video platforms. Thank you so much. Listen on. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to today's episode. Today we have Daragh Morrissey from our banking and financial services and insurance industry team at Microsoft. Daragh, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, James, and looking forward to the chat.
Excellent. Daragh, today's topic is Agentic AI, and it is at the top of everyone's mind. How is the new era of Agentic AI going to change how partners and customers should think about their business? You have a unique perspective in the BFSI industry, and very much looking forward to this conversation. So, Daragh, what are you hearing? What are you seeing when you talk to customers about Agentic AI? What's top of mind?
Yeah, I think for me, I am very lucky. I do get to meet customers here in Redmond every week. So I'm based in Redmond, just outside Seattle, and we have our executive briefing center about 15 minutes down the road. So in the last couple of weeks, I've met about 10 customers, all talking about Agentic AI. It's really exciting how we got here. It's been the reasoning models that we saw around November, December. They formed the brains for this. We had a load of tooling that was developed last year. So it's all coming together. And I think what I'm seeing about agents is really the opportunity to go in and rewire business processes is really exciting for cost takeout and generating new revenue. And I can go through some of the use cases, but it's really it's kind of, I think of it as the next wave of generative AI. You know, we had productivity in the first wave. We had developers, Copilot, our own Copilot. Now we're moving into processes, and the ROI is so much more tangible.
So, Daragh, since you offered, let's go into a use case.
Sure.
Let's talk about one of your customers. What are they seeing? What are they doing where Agentic AI is something that they're looking at as a way to truly transform their business?
So I think one of the key use cases is building on existing AI use cases. And this is a pattern I'm seeing as well. One of the key ones is around the contact center, and how AI can augment and improve that conversation, help the agent, the human agent, to run a better call, get answers faster. And we've had a lot of AI in the contact center. We've had it summarizing and translating. Where I see agents working now is getting the answer faster. Have a bank that's learning from every conversation, and then even where some of my customers are actually going now is how much can I do through my app with self-service, and that's also an agent type use case. So going from just doing basic servicing in the contact center, you could either look to do more selling. You can do things like some banks I'm talking to don't want any human beings in their contact center at all. We've seen some digital banks that were doing that, but that's kind of where the direction is going. It's really about moving away from those basic bots that we had. Contact centers where you're waiting like 20 minutes to get through to somebody, and then another 20 minutes to get to an answer. It's putting rocket fuel into the contact center. And the great thing about contact center is it's measured to an inch of its life. So the ROI is very tangible.
One of the changes or one of the evolutions in AI
Mm-hmm.
that gets us to agentic lies in two characteristics and maybe three, right? You can correct me or add to what I'm going to say, but the advanced reasoning capabilities is new or newish, right? And then the other is the ability to take action, which I think is what you were touching on, right? From the perspective of, where the value is that people are seeing, right? Could you talk about that? How people are really looking at those two new capabilities as transformational?
Yeah, I think what's transformational is that if you'd used ChatGPT 3 or 4, you had um, a capability that was equivalent to a normal standard degree candidate. It did get things wrong. It would get mathematics wrong a lot. It would answer 1 and 1 is 2 because it saw it somewhere. What's amazing about the new reasoning models is you sort of need to think of them as PhD level graduates. They can do incredible mathematics. They are incredible coders and they're incredible researchers. And what I love about how they work is with previous generations of Gen AI, um, the chat was sort of there to please you or give you what you needed as quickly as possible. And sometimes that wasn't the right answer or made up. With these reasoning models, they actually break every part of the problem into chunks. They give citations. You can see the chain of thought behind the answer. And this means they form a brain for agents. They're able to sort of reason, break a problem into smaller steps, and get to really good outputs in each step. So I'll give you a real world example too. About 2 weeks ago, I was looking to get a new car for my wife, and buying a car in this country is horrible. I mean the US, and I was on the app, and it would give me like cars that weren't even in my state, and I was trying to work out how much my trade in would be worth, how much the change would be, and then trying to add tax. And I was sitting there going, like, hang on a second, I'll just use a research agent to do this. And I just gave it a prompt. I said, give me the 10 cars, this mileage, this model, this year. This is my budget. Go and get me 5 cars that are half an hour away from my house max. And what I love is these agents ask you clarifying questions. They say, like, they ask me questions about my trade-in, like, what is it? What trim level is it? How many miles is on it? And it came back with 5 cars, and I bought the second one on the list. And it saved me so much time. And that's kind of where I love it. Our new research agent, for example, it thinks about it for like 15 minutes. It's kind of hard to demo. And the way I demo it to customers is I start it, kick off the meeting. This is how I prepped for the meeting. And then, like those cookery shows, I take it out of the oven at the end when it's finished doing its work.
So we could probably do a whole podcast episode on the differences in how to buy a car in Europe versus the US.
Yeah.
So we've talked about a contact center. Is there another use case that comes to mind?
Yeah.
One of the questions that I get often is, what kind of new revenue opportunities does this bring to me in the BFSI industry?
Yeah, I think there is a set unit of use cases that take out cost. So there's a lot around loan applications, processing, fraud, agents that would help you do better KYC for customers onboarding with you. I do like this concept of AI helping relationship roles. So a lot of the banks I talk to, they want their advisors to service more clients than they currently do because these advisors are a great source of revenue. So there's a lot of productivity. There was a lot of productivity already being worked on with Gen AI there, but having an agent now, you can again go off and tell me what I need to know about James for this meeting. He might be interested in buying Nvidia today. Tariffs, what's the impact of tariffs on this conversation if it happened today? And going out and getting real time information. And, we can do that in our platform too on the internal data, which is really exciting. So, what's his risk profile that we have? What do I need to know from the last meeting that we talked about? And I met one wealth management company last week, and they want to get to 200 clients per advisor. So to do that, they will need rocket powered agentic productivity improvements compared to the way they did the job previously, which was logging into like lots of different systems, going out trying to find out what's happening in the market today. Now it's all kind of brought to you really in a really crisp way to get you ready for your meetings.
And the way those companies will differentiate might be one in speed of service,
Mhm.
but then also in completeness of service, bringing in a broader set of recommendations, and incorporating a broader set of data about that customer. Hey, I
Mhm.
noticed you were in vacation in Ibiza last month.
Mhm.
Here's a recommendation in Spain for you to consider, etc.
Yeah. And then I saw actually now you mention it, there was an announcement across all the credit card companies that they were doing agentic commerce. This is a new type of agentic motion where they can move more into added value services around payments. So it's not just processing the payment. It could be helping you plan a holiday or something like that. So I think there's amazing sort of commerce opportunities here. A bit like we've had the sort of early days of the internet analogy a few times, but I actually think there's a whole kind of e-commerce type wave that's going to come out of agents. It's, even that use case I used with the car, I saw something similar. I saw a demo recently where, somebody was looking for a house, and then it found a house and it said, "Do you want to set up a viewing?" And it's going from trying to sell you something to actually getting you halfway down the sales process, which is really exciting.
Dara, as partners and customers think
Mhm.
about going down this path, many of them are establishing COEs.
Mhm.
And they did this under the construct of traditional AI.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, agentic AI comes along
Mhm.
in the last 6 months, 9 months. How should customers and partners rethink their centers of excellence in this new age, this new
Yeah.
era?
I think I think one thing I'd say is banks have been doing AI for years. People don't realize it, but they were using it for fraud, next best action. We call it kind of predictive AI, and they built up COEs around that. What I would say is they should continue to build on those. There was a lot of great tooling that was built to make sure that the AI that they were building was explainable and transparent for regulators. One thing I think they should think about here is really the speed to build is reducing all the time. The speed to build an application is reducing all the time. And I'll give you one example. I met a credit union recently. They wanted to do something agentic with something that was in Pega, a kind of older CRM system. And again, there was a discussion around the table about getting in a developer that could write it. And while they were talking, I wrote the connector on, as they were talking, I wrote it and I gave it to them. And I said, I have no idea if this works, but they tried it and it worked first time. So we're able to, the speed from going from an idea to building something is shrinking all the time. The cost to do this is shrinking all the time. There was incredible demos at Build this week. So I think as customers, you need to rethink the process of how you think about building things. Spending a year gathering requirements, doing a business case, and then building something is kind of a waste of time. It's actually very quicker to prove something out, build it, see if it's the right thing now, and of course cost it and put the right governance around that. But it's really the faster you're actually building the more you're learning and the more value you're getting, the less I would spend less time analyzing and strategizing. Just get your hands dirty.
So this makes me think of marketing and advertising where they do A/B testing to see which ad is more effective.
Mm-hmm.
But they put the ad out there and then they iterate on the ad. Um, there might be some element of A/B testing on agents. Just put it out there and see which ones are more effective with the users, which ones they adopt, and then refine that.
Yeah, and you can also do A/B testing on your adoption of AI in humans too. So we measure we can see, we've two sets of signal inside our organization, which is, how much our sellers are selling and how much our customers are using. And that's how we're measured internally. But we also know how much they're using AI. So we can actually do A/B testing on that. And I'm a big fan of that. Like it gives you real data. And what we know is that the sellers using AI are actually selling more. Their customers are happier. We did it with code development or code modernization in the early days of Gen AI. That was the first use case. A couple of banks have done these A/B tests where they give two sets of developers, one have AI and the other have don't, and how they built the code, the quality of the code, and the job satisfaction, everything was higher. So measuring it is very is good. I wouldn't over measure though, or try to get to a perfect business case at the same time.
So there, we've moved into the people discussion, and there's two sets of populations really that are impacted and could become users, influential users of AI. One is the technical side, the folks that are developing the solutions, and the other is the sales side, the people that are having these conversations with customers. How are those conversations changing? The skilling conversations, the upskilling, the enablement conversations, both on the technical side, but then the sales conversation between a partner and a customer. How has that evolved in the age of agentic?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. I think in the organizations themselves, the ones that are being really successful are the business and technology coming together. Um, Sometimes in Microsoft, we think about customers being either business or technical audiences, and I think that line is blurring all the time. Our tech are becoming more business focused, and the business are becoming more technically literate, so they're able to use AI outside the organization as well. So that's one thing that I'm really excited about. I think for years they wouldn't talk to each other or actively avoided each other or hated each other. And then I think as you get into training, I think it's important to not underestimate the importance of adoption and change management. Um, the companies that are doing this really well, like BlackRock, they have that as a key pillar. It's the other two, I think, are driving out cost and getting to alpha for their clients. But the third thing was, how are people going to use this? How they get value from it? How do we make them better? And it's being really intentional about it. Putting throwing a kind of chatbot over the wall at your users and expecting them to use it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for any technology project, and there's nothing new about it. People rolled out SAP and spent tons on training. That they did that because it was expensive to build, but it wouldn't get adopted by itself if they didn't. So I think with AI, you do need to build up the muscle internally. You'll have some people that are using it like intensely outside, and they want to use it internally, and then you have other people that will really, need a bit more help to build the muscle.
There are we're talking about sales conversations.
Mm,
Um, the ability for agents to, for lack of a better word, own a process from
mm,
beginning to end with the
mm,
reasoning and the automation. There's an opportunity to rethink the business model for
mm,
that. The old school way is, you sell butts and seats, you sell people,
Mm,
either billable hours, right? Or cost takeout,
mm,
or, flat fee,
mm,
right? This agentic approach gives the opportunity for customers and partners and sellers to rethink that.
mm.
How are you seeing customers look at the value of agentic processes and they're rethinking business models on how they're going to pay for that and how they're going to measure and realize value on that?
Yeah, I think the, there's going to be a massive uh, opportunity to take out cost with some of these process agents. If I look at if I look at a lot of processes inside banks, some of them have been automated already with earlier versions of this, like RPA. But where I see where I see a lot of customers going is a concept of a super agent, which would manage multiple agents, sort of do about 50% of what a human could do. This is more of a
So it's
bleeding
like a
edge.
manager agent, for
Yeah,
lack of a better word.
yeah. Jensen from NVIDIA talks about it. It's like you're an air traffic controller with these agents flying around, and you're overseeing them. You're not actually doing the work. You're just checking what they're doing, helping them out when they need help. But that concept is a lot of my banks are very excited about. They they sort of see the opportunity to move people out of low value activities into more selling. So you can have more selling capacity to the bank.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Dara, thank you so much for today's conversation.
Mm.
I would encourage our listeners and our audience to connect with Daragh Morrissey on LinkedIn,
Mm.
and look forward to more conversations, Daragh.
Awesome.
We may come back and have a conversation on how to buy a car in Europe
No
versus
worries.
the US.
Great stuff. Thanks, James. Nice chatting to you.
Thank you so much.